afternoon. I'm pleased to announce the opening of our meeting today, the February 8th meeting of the Fairfield Board of Police Commissioners. Mr. Pine, would you please do the pledge of allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first matter on the agenda is the approval of the draft minutes of January 11th, 2023. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So be it. Approved. We have awards presentation. Yes. Chief.
So I know some of you were wondering why all the officers and detectives are here today, and it's for the presentation of this award. On July 4th, 2020, officers responded to a motor vehicle crash with serious injuries in front of 2036 Reading Road. What would come of this investigation was a week-long search for a suspect operating a vehicle on that fateful day that would strike a young woman walking her dog, ultimately ending her life. What would also come from that day is a relationship with a member of our community that would spend the next 3 years of her life expressing her appreciation for the men and women of this department and the work that they do every day. For the last 3 years, Georgiana Stavroulakis has regularly and consistently baked, cooked, whipped up, and put smiles and added pounds on the faces of every officer in this department, including my own. We as a department want to share our sincere appreciation for what she has done for us. She reminds us almost daily with the drop-off of treats and goodies that the work we do as police officers is appreciated. With that, I present to you this certificate of appreciation honoring you, Georgiana, as our official department chef. Please come up. Please take that. And I also want to present to you, thank you. This chef's coat. If you look here, it doesn't say chief, but it says chef. If you look here, there's some detail in the patch with a rolling pin and a whisk.
Well, that's clever.
That's slick.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Maybe if we can go over there.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand this to the commissioners. I want them to see the detail in it. And yeah.
Oh, no, that's great.
What I'd like to do is get all the officers up here and you stand in front of them, because these are the people who you're serving every day. While sometimes we're serving you, most of the time you're serving us. Want to be a part of this? Sure. Yeah.
You'll be right in the center, right in the center.
He's not a well-fed guy.
Yeah.
Chief, we need you right in the back. Georgiana,
Oh, sure.
Hey, Chief?
It's like pressure, you don't have to sit.
Point big straight.
Great.
My Greek brethren.
Yes, I know.
Georgiana, would you like to say a few words?
Please.
Stay here so you guys can see me too. I just want to say, when we moved here right when COVID hit, it was a trying time for everyone, as you know. So going through what we did right after we moved in with that incident, I felt very helpless. I wanted to do something for the community, and you guys, what you did when you did this so quickly, I was floored. And so it just felt natural to get back, and then it just felt better and better to keep doing it. So thank you for recognizing and appreciating it. And I honestly mean it. If there's anything you want in particular, please let me know. There's a lot going on, so trying to fit it all in, but I promise I'll keep going.
And if I could just add that most of the time the officers do not show up to the commission meeting, so this is evidence that you are making an impact, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
When the email goes out that something's arrived, they arrive like cattle at the back door.
Yeah.
I've been on Reading Road, the streets have arrived, and people just want from everywhere.
Okay, well, like I said, please give recommendations of what you want, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nobody has to stay for the rest of the day.
Take care, guys. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, thanks for.
Can we have your email address?
I'll give it to, yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah,
okay.
I'll give it to you.
Have a great night, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
We had another.
Anything else, another one?
No, we had another award scheduled for this evening, Justin Carthart, but he ended up getting, he's the marina manager, who assisted us on a boat incident. He ended up getting COVID yesterday, so we're gonna push him to next month. It's the second time we're pushing this off, but we'll get him in next month, hopefully.
So next on the agenda, I believe we have an introduction for the new LCSW, Jessica Bloomberg.
So as you all know, a little more than a year ago, we started the process of researching what it would take to get a social worker embedded in the police department here. And late last year, we got the funds transfer approved, so we dug right in and tried to fill the spot. We got 14 applicants right off the bat. And I have to say that between myself and everyone else on the panel, which consisted of Julie DeMarco from Social Services and Detective Irizarry here, one application immediately rose to the top for every single one of us. So we still interviewed our top 3 people, but we never had a doubt that Jessica Bloomberg would be a perfect fit here, and she has been. So I'd like to introduce her to you all.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
My name's Jessica Bloomberg, and in December last year, I was a police officer in Stamford for 21 years. I came to Stamford with a master's in social work, and had been working at an agency in Stamford, and the chief had used social workers for children who were victims of or witness to violent crime. So I started to work with police and took the test as kind of a joke, thinking maybe this would be a good career, and fast forward 21 years in Stamford. So I've owned a home in Fairfield since 2003, but spent very little time here. So this job has afforded me the opportunity to get to know Fairfield better, contribute to an awesome community, and become a part of a police department that's really paving the way in doing things with the community for people that we get called to often and whose needs are not criminally based, but more mental health based or housing, substance abuse, all of those kinds of things. In a slow week, we've had 10 referrals, and the busiest week so far, 26 referrals. So I have very little time to make trouble, and I'm kept busy. But everybody here has been absolutely awesome, from the captain downwards, welcoming me, making it easy for me, and listening to ideas and helping me learn all about Fairfield and the police department, from the chiefs all the way down.
May we ask questions?
Sure.
Where do you meet the clients, where do you interview?
So some of the times I've been called to houses. in the middle of a crisis, once the scene is safe, and I've been able to meet people in their own homes. A lot of people have come to the police department, and that's where we're doing it now. As I become better acquainted with other resources in the community, I would probably meet them at different agencies like social services or different places. Wherever people want to be met, as long as it's safe, I'm more than willing to go.
That's great.
Thank you all
Welcome
very
aboard.
much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Next,
Thank you.
traffic surveys, so there are none. Until next meeting. Old business? Any old business? New business? Kevin, you want to review the, new business issues?
Be glad to. All right. Item 1, recognition of donations made to Fairfield Animal Control Shelter. A $50 check, number 289, from Priska Titus, 1018 Norman Street, Bridgeport, as a donation and a thank you for having just adopted one of our shelter dogs.
Nice.
A $50 cash from an anonymous woman as a donation to our shelter for the care and well-being of our animals. And a presentation of new hire, Do you want me to read that?
Yes,
as well?
go ahead.
Okay, so those are the two donations for the month. And we are going to have presentations for new hire candidate interviews at our March meeting.
May I have a motion to approve the donations?
Make a motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. Okay, and so the presentation of new hired candidate interviews will take place at the March commission meeting.
Yeah, we're looking to, we have a test out. I think we've gotten over 160 candidates that applied, tested, passed, and are kind of sitting on a list. We have one position currently unfilled. We're at 109. I'm seeking, as I said in the last commission, to get one captain's position, which ultimately ends up as a patrol officer position once those promotions are made. And then one additional patrol officer position. So my hope is that by July 1, we have 3 additional positions. There is a starting for the post-police academy, which is in Meriden, on July 8th. We have a request for 3 slots going into that. I don't know if we'll get all 3, but I think shortly thereafter, in August, I think he told me Waterbury was starting an academy. So if we can't get the 3 seats in then in the July 8th, maybe we'll get one into the next. And some of this is up in the air, but we're just trying to forecast as best we can. The goal is to try to get 10 or so, or maybe a few more in front of the commission for them to make new hires, to extend a conditional offer in the March meeting, so that we have enough time before July 8th to do background checks and see who gets through it.
Thank you.
So on March 8th, we'll be doing the interviews,
Yes.
and is that going to be 10 or?
We can go as far down as the commission would like.
I'm just wondering, like, how much time to block out for this. 'Cause, the 10 is like, what,
Yeah, I would
5
say it's
hours?
a solid, no, I'd say it's a solid 3.5 hours plus dinner, and we'll do it similar as we've done it in the past. We'll put dinner in there, we'll try to move through everyone quick, we'll leave a 20-minute break so that we can eat, come back in and finish up the last couple.
Are you still looking for laterals?
I think we're leaning towards new hires. We're not really in a position where time is of the essence. Currently we only have one position, so worst case scenario, we may have 3 positions after July 1 if everything gets approved as we see it, and even then, those are additional positions. We're hoping to get 3 new hire positions. Some of the candidates that that have taken the test and have scored high, we can kind of see who they are. We can look back at their social media stuff and see where they are in life, just by their names. And, you know, I think we're gonna get a good candidate pool. I'm actually surprised we've gotten so many applicants thus far.
Yeah. Excellent.
Kevin, do you have a question?
I have a couple, please. So when we interviewed the 10 folks in March for the one spot, are we actually looking for the top 3 to have that list ready for July, or is that getting too far ahead of the process?
What I would suggest is, as we've done in the past, if you feel that a candidate fulfills all the requirements and you feel that they would be a good candidate for this police department and they add value to this police department and you would want to put that person on the list, then we'll put that person on the list and extend the conditional offer to them. If we don't get down to them, then we don't get down to them. And that's kind of where it's important for you as the commission to make those decisions as who you see as the best fit for this department or the best fit candidate for this position.
Yeah, that makes good sense, because out of 10, there might be 4 or 5 really excellent people, right? Especially if you're coming from 160 to get to 10, right?
Yeah.
So it probably makes good sense. And my other question is, as commissioners here, what can we do within our roles to advocate for those 2 spots as we head into the budget season? I mean, what can we do? What can we not do? What's our role? What's our responsibility to advocate on behalf of the department to these town boards and bodies that have a say in that vote?
I appreciate that. So far, I'm not facing any resistance. So I put together, and I don't say me, my team has put together a proposal that is very clear cut. I can share that with the commission if you wanna peruse it. I can send it over to you. We put that proposal before the first select woman and her staff, and so far they are all in, which I'm very happy about. It then goes to the Board of Selectmen for a vote, and then I think I'll get a good feeling on the first one from the Board of Selectmen. If I need some support, I'll definitely ask, and I would probably say either the secretary or the chair can submit a letter in support, but I will reach out to you if I think that I'm going to be facing some resistance. If I can get past the Board of Finance, then it's likely to be smooth sailing from there.
Yeah.
Just based on my experience.
Exactly.
So both Kevin and I served in the RTM and at different parties, so we would be glad to,
Yeah, so maybe that might be a good idea, maybe nothing formal at this time, but maybe if I just share the proposal with you so you have a good background on what we're looking to do. And then, call your counterparts and, seek support in that way. That would be beneficial.
Thank you.
All right?
what has changed on the landscape to warrant the additional officers?
Good question. So one of the things, probably most importantly, is in the very near future, March 1st, Westport Fire and Police are transitioning over to the new ECC. Right now, it's been operating. It's been, for the most part, working out great. We've had a couple of minor technical issues, but nothing that we haven't remedied in very short order. We probably can foresee or forecast some personnel issues. We're hiring a lot of the Westport dispatchers to go into the ECC. There may be conflicts of personalities. At the end of the day, to answer your question directly, we're going from 15 dispatchers to 22 dispatchers and 4 supervisors amongst those individuals. So we're going to need a captain, which is actually cited in the interlocal agreement between the 2 towns to run that operation. Currently, Pete Koval is taking on that responsibility, but we're still at the 15 dispatchers number. We're actually less right now. We're at 12, yeah. So we're expecting that number to increase, you know, exponentially to 22 in short order. It's going to require a little bit more supervision. It's going to require more quality control. It's going to require more training. And all those things are part of a management responsibility. And I'm seeking another captain to have that overseen. In addition to that, there was some discussion about a civilian manager over the dispatch center. And we thought, based on our proposal and our kind of broader look at what other departments are doing and what other regional dispatch centers are doing, we thought that it was better to have a police officer in that position to manage those affairs. What I'd also like to do is spread out some of the work from the other captains onto that, because I can honestly say that they have a lot of stuff under their areas of responsibility, and I'd like to spread that out so the span of control is not so narrow.
Who's paying for it?
That is, as far as the operating cost of the Emergency Communications Center, that is 67% Fairfield and 33% Westport.
So they'll pay part of that salary?
It is part of the operational cost, that's correct.
So there's clarification, you already have 110.
Yes, sir.
So you don't really need the captain, because you already have, patrolman's already been approved by our team of Board of Finance, right? So only seeking one position of captain, which will create another patrolman, right?
No, we are seeking an additional captain and an additional patrolman. So it will eventually be 2 patrolmen.
Okay.
You know, one
So your sworn officer will be 111?
Will be 112.
112, okay, gotcha, thank you.
And the comparative data study that Gabriella did, and we have another one from last year, shows that we should be at like 120 cops. So last year when we went through, we proposed 2 more, the Board of RTM, or Board of Finance, said, why aren't you asking for more? And basically said, you run me out of town if I ask for 10 cops, but yeah, I could use 10 cops. So like-sized departments, like-sized demographics are usually around 120 cops.
Well, there's studies going all the way back to Ronnie Sullivan that were talking about 115, 120, and that was before all the specialization that you guys have done in the last 3 decades. So it's got to be at least 120 if you look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, one other component that's really not recognized and not tangible is, in the past, I'll say it, the older generation of officer was willing and wanting to work more overtime and supplement their income to work. The new generation of millennials that we're hiring, they want their off time. Jamie's laughing over there. You know, they want to come to work, do their 8 hours, they do a great job, and then they want to go home. And, you know, I'm kind of painting it with a broad brush, but that's what we're experiencing in the new generation, that, you know, they don't want to work 60, 70 hours a week, you know, 40 in straight time and 30 or 40 in overtime. They want to come in, do their 8 hours of service to the community, and go home and enjoy their life outside of the police department. So we're trying to augment our staffing based on what we're seeing and experiencing from the frontline patrol officers.
Right. So that brings me back full circle to conversations we had on the Board of Finance decades ago and years ago about the analysis between hiring new officers and paying overtime for the officers to kind of cover for them. And I don't know if we ever got an accurate answer on where the break-even point was of, you know, 5 new officers versus 1 or 2, and then sprinkling the overtime amongst everyone else. So there's certainly a calculation there that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's driven by culture. So as you said, we have to find that right balance, and I feel like that balance is moving more towards, you know, less overtime for the officers because they want time off, but fulfilling those vacancies with full-time officers, new officers that are coming on.
And one of the things that plays into that is, back in, just a few years ago, you would never ever hear of an order in. And now, it's, you don't have enough people for the shift, nobody wants the overtime, the junior person's getting ordered in, and it adversely affects morale, especially if the newer people who are getting ordered in all the time. But, I mean, you have that all the time now,
Yes.
orderings were unheard of, like.
We're just starting to experience, less orders and less overtime in patrol. And, it's gonna lessen, because we have, one guy on FTO right now, we have another guy coming out of the academy shortly. We have 3 on FTO. Yeah, we have 3 that just graduated. But they'll be out on their own soon, and those billets will be filled with those bodies, and it's gonna get less and less with overtime. But also around May and June, more people are using their vacation time. Another thing that we're gonna experience pretty shortly, and the tables or the tide's gonna turn a little bit, is we have 25 new officers with under 2 years. So before them, we had officers and detectives and sergeants and lieutenants with 28 days of vacation days. All of these guys only have 14. So they have less time on the road and less time, contractual time, to use to take off. So we're going to be experiencing maybe some hunger for some overtime. I don't know what we're going to see, but it's an interesting dynamic right now, and we were talking about it the other day, trying to figure out how to strike that balance.
Chief?
Yes, sir.
What's the difference between overtime on the job and taking a road job? Because there doesn't seem to be any shortage of officers on the road jobs.
Great point. There is no shortage of road jobs, and if someone wants to make overtime, the officers can go out there and work. We have unfilled jobs every day that end up going to specials and sometimes completely go unfilled. The inside overtime is a result of someone calling in sick, taking a vacation day, taking a personal day, and using their contractually afforded time off that they get from their collective bargaining agreement.
No, but what I'm saying,
The pay rate is the same. The pay rate is the
the
same.
pay rate is the same?
Yeah.
Okay,
For a road job or an in-house overtime.
okay.
Some people like their overtime in-house, some people like it on the road. There's some people who will not stand on the road, and there's other people who will not work in uniform on their day off. They want to do this for 8 hours and nothing more, not this.
But
You know,
it's a
They
wash
want
for
to
the bucks.
decompress and get an hour lunch, that you're actually having an hour lunch.
There seems to be more activity with the universities, Sacred Heart and Fairfield U, now that they have the gym at Fairfield U and they have the hockey rink at Sacred Heart. And do you see increased attention to those forums that result in an increase in time?
Yes, those are good jobs. The officers want to work. How many do they hire?
Basketball's at 4 now, hockey's at 4, girls. So we see a large increase in overtime, but I haven't seen a large increase in calls for service. Is that what you call for overtime or calls for service?
Calls for service.
Okay.
I haven't seen a little bit of traffic up at Sacred Heart with the opening.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they got it wrapped up pretty tight on campus, mainly the parking and pedestrian traffic and the big weekend of opening weekend at Sacred Heart.
We have that pretty well wrapped up.
Call for service, another building, May apartments in Fairfield, like, we're down by the new train station, they're putting like, is it 800 or 900 apartments there across from the Metro Center?
A lot.
I mean, this is gonna increase the population.
Where is this?
And,
We're
all for service, so.
Whole Foods in that area, developed area.
That was the primary driver for my push for more employees, because, you know, it takes us 2 years to get these. I mean, you could say it takes us 10 months to get them up and running, but if I get the vacancy, or if I get the position in July, and coincidentally, we have an academy open July 8th, but if that wasn't the case, then they're not getting into the academy till September. That pushes it out where now they're getting done in April, and then they're on FTO, and I mean, it's a year and a half before we usually get them actually on the road and filling a billet. So yeah, to your point, I'm looking at the construction in town and saying, we better make some moves now, because it's gonna help us later on, I think.
Any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
Let's go to the employee directory. Thank you for putting that together, that's great.
Yeah.
Award, I think.
We have that one Sergeant Stahl.
Sergeant Stahl, but
Oh, wow, I have one, it's wonderful.
I will give him the hand.
No, yeah, please.
Yeah, the commission expressed to me last year that, they wanted that update. We have a lot of new officers, and, I mean, that thing is a living organism, because it's like the minute we put it out, I had her update it like 2 days before it was sent out, and then like the next day, we had a retirement in the dispatch center, so it's still not even up to date, you know, it's just, but it's as close as we can get it, to this point.
But at least you updated my term.
Yes. If you find errors or omissions, please let us know, we'll correct them.
So let's then go to the monthly report.
Can I make a quick comment on that?
Yeah, please do.
So, Gabrielle, I did this for last year, and it was, I explained, it was very labor intensive, drawing all these data from all these different, systems that we have in-house. So Mike Ferris has worked with, our IT people and Next Gen to try to come up with this Power BI report. So something was brought up to me, some of the numbers on page 2, and I double checked them just before it came in, like you go to mental patient, January 21 was 6, 22, January 22 was 3, and then 15 and 23. Is that accurate or not? So I got to Gabrielle just before the meeting, we talked about it, we thought maybe because of Jessica coming on board, pulling a lot of files. I ran mental patient in our LAS, our old system, and I came up with 8. So whether that number is accurate, inaccurate, or if it's drawn two fields, like did you draw it, I don't know if it's drawn a Jessica field. So we're gonna look at some of those numbers and where it's drawn. Most of them look okay and kind of make sense, but some of them might be off a little. So we're gonna, you know, it's a work in progress, and we're gonna try to go through and make sure it's as accurate as we could.
You got it from the initial, chief?
I did, as mental patient.
Initial or actual?
Initial.
That
So
one,
the actual
that one
is
draws from the
probably
actual.
yeah.
Sometimes it calls them as a single 20, ends up being a mental patient.
Got it. So she was, and Jessica might recode it when she follows up, correct? Okay, that might be the answer.
Well, can I just bring, sure, 2023, there's 15 mental patients, yeah, all of 2023
Yeah.
is only 3, so that was the question.
Right, that's where the initial component came in, it's how it's being coded, once she gets the call and assesses the scene. It could be that it is an actual mental patient, or it could be that it's not. But this is pulling from the actual call type.
What are you saying? Well, let me just, you're looking at 2022 and saying in all of 22. It's not all of 22, just January.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you'll see when we go through, and we can go over, because I had a couple questions that I got calls on over the training one. When we go through the year breakdowns, you'll see it's 21, 22, and 23. Not every, we'll call it slide or page, is a year breakdown or a month breakdown. So the training is year breakdown, but these, because there's so many of them, you have to get granular, these are just the months in each year. The training is the only one that is an accumulation of year 21, year 22, and where we are in 23.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I can note that too I can just add a text box and say a year accumulation, month-to-month accumulation, just so that there's no question going
Yeah, that would
forward.
be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions? Questions? No? I think it's not this one. And a motion to adjourn?
The budget?
Motion to approve for the draft,
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Kevin. I think you offered to give us a briefing on the Newburgh matter.
Oh, sure.
We should go to, have a motion to go into executive session.
Let's have a motion to approve the monthly report.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the monthly report.
All in favor? Opposed? Carries. Okay.
And then I think you just have to make a motion to add the agenda, the agenda item, which is, discussion of an investigation by.
I'll make a motion to, add an executive session.
Thank you, James. For investigation. And second? Yeah.
No, I know.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None?